Otakuthon at Home Manga Planet Industry Panel. My name is Mai and I will be your MC and interpreter for today. I've got two ladies here with me from Manga Planet, and they'll be joining me on this panel, and we'll be doing some talking about manga. So, would you like to introduce yourselves? Let's go to Emma first.
Yes, so my name is Emma Hanashio and I am the editor-in-chief at Manga Planet.
And my name is Gladys Sangala. I'm a producer at Manga Planet. Thank you for having us.
Nice, brief and short. Welcome, and thank you for coming today. So for those of you who don't know, we're actually in Japan. So later on we will have a special guest that will be talking to us. If you don't know, you can see him on the screen probably. It is Yoshiki Tanaka-sensei, which we are so excited to get to meet. So yay for that. And we will... we need to talk about a few things before we get there, so hold on just a bit longer and we'll get there soon. So sorry for having to make you wait. So we're going to talk in three parts, I believe. So first of all, the reason I've got the ladies here today, they're going to start talking to us about Manga Planet and a little bit about manga distribution digitally. And then we'll be talking to Tanaka-sensei for a short interview. He'll be joining us through Zoom today, is that right? Yes. Mm-hmm. And he's also going to answer some of the questions that we got sent through from all of you guys. So hope you are waiting for that. Alright, so let's start with the basics. So Emma, tell us a bit about Manga Planet.
So, Manga Planet is a manga subscription service, and we focus specifically on Japanese manga. And so for one flat fee, you can access all of the titles in our library. So currently we have 57 titles in our library, and so we have three plans. We have a 1 month plan for $6.99, and we have a 6 month plan that could go for $4.99 per month.
Okay.
So it's pretty inexpensive, and you have access to all the manga. There's no limits to it.
Just double checking, this is all USD.
Oh yes, this is USD.
Just it. Okay, excellent, good. Alright, okay.
And then, so the key features for the Manga Planet library, we have a very well-curated library between our company president, Gladys, and I. We all make sure to check over the list and consider things from the manga fan point of view, because Manga Planet is operated by manga fans. We have regular updates, so you can check our schedule to see what new titles are coming, and we have basically updates every single day now. And then I mentioned it before, we have a long-term subscription plan. So we have a 6 month plan, and if you invest now, it's basically just $30 USD to read so many titles of manga. So that's a great deal. And it's also accessible on any device. So you could use it on tablet, you can use it on your phone, you can use it on your computer. We don't have an app right now, but with your web browser, you'll be able to access it anywhere.
Okay.
And then,
okay.
Yep. And then we also have original blog content, thanks to Gladys. So
I'm in charge of the blog.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good, fun.
Yep.
Alright.
So you can learn about manga culture, just other bits of like Japanese culture, pop culture, as well as exclusive interviews with many creators and people in the industry now. So it's a great place.
I was actually looking at the blog just a couple of days ago, and a lot of interesting content out there though. So teaser guys, go look. Really good stuff. Gladys knows what she's writing about. It's good. Okay. All right. Okay. So thank you for that. So I believe one of the main key features about Manga Planet in particular is about distributing manga legally online. Okay, this is a really big deal, guys, especially from all of you who might know my era or our era in manga fandom. It was really hard to get legal manga. Okay, Okay, so could you tell us a bit more about these?
Okay, so at Manga Planet, where our main goal is to provide, like Mai had said, officially licensed Japanese manga. So we are also we play the role of advocating against piracy. So we have we joined the Japanese government's efforts to stop manga piracy. So if you look at our blog, which we were talking about earlier, that's mangaplanet.com, you will see on the right side that there is the poster of the stop piracy poster there, and if you click on that, you will see like 16 different manga that tackles the issue of piracy. So personal favorite is Norarami.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you will learn a lot about like what is like the logo mark for legal manga and stuff like that. So yeah. And another role that Manga Planet place is that we provide access to more manga. So in Japan, there are very huge publishers here in Japan. So there's Shogakukan, there's Kodansha, there's Shueisha, there's Kadokawa. But aside from those four, there are many small and medium publishers here in Japan, and it's our role to provide those manga, localize those manga by those publishers, and then distribute them for fans overseas. So because these small and medium publishers do not have the resources to localize their own manga. And the third and last role we play is we make sure that everyone can access this manga, so we don't have geographical limitations. So anywhere in the world, if you have a tablet, you have a device with a browser and a working Wi-Fi or internet connection, you can access our manga. Yeah.
You can use a Switch to access something.
Yes, you can use a Switch, yes. And you can actually use it globally, guys. I'm originally from Australia, and I can guarantee you can watch it down there too. And Australia's a little bit behind everywhere else. Sorry to tell you guys, it's true, guys from Down Under, it's true. And if we can access it down there, we can access it anywhere all over the world, I guarantee it, okay? Alright, so again, Manga Planet is really huge on the going against manga piracy, guys. We'd love your support on it as well. The page that Gladys was talking about just then is absolutely fantastic. It's really fun. It's just on their website at mangaplanet.com. Please head in and go to the Stop Piracy section with all the different mangas. You never know, you might find your favorite mangaka there as well. I know I found mine. Sato Fumiya says there's actually got a set of his manga as well. So they're really fun to watch, especially if you know the characters. Definitely click in. Alright. Okay, so thank you, ladies. So we've learned a little bit about, Manga Planet. So we know their services, features, and roles, which is very important. But for those of you who aren't on Manga Planet yet or haven't had a chance to check them out, I think we need to have a bit of a sneak peek if you'd like to share with us what you can share with us, of course, so that you know what you're actually looking at. So the library itself is read.mangaplanet.com. It's a slightly different URL, but if you'd like to give us a little bit of a tour, Gladys?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So right now we have 57 titles, yeah, so yay! And we are working with a lot of publishers, so this is just like the representative of what can we say? Some of the works that we have on the library. So we work with a publisher called Lead Publishing. So we have 3 titles from them.
Okay, so what we just mentioned was a whole bunch of Japanese publishers you're working with. My understanding is you also work with some overseas publishers, which is a bit unique. Yeah.
Yes. So we work with Sozo Comics.
Okay.
Yeah. So they are based in Los Angeles, and they work with quite very
prestigious artists and writers.
Okay.
We're just very lucky to be able to release their stuff. So yeah, we'll talk about the titles briefly.
Yeah.
So one title from Sozo that we are releasing is Enchanted Racer. It's by the author is Akira Ito Sensei, whom you should know from Card Fight, Vanguard, and Yu-Gi-Oh! R. So that's one title, and another is Marine, which is a very interesting.
I don't know how many of you guys know what pachinko is, but I've seen that before.
Yeah, but what's notable about this is if you look at the art, it's by Akira Himikawa Sensei. So Legend of Zelda series.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very interesting too, right? I mean, girl without a memory washed up in a shore.
Okay.
All these comics are also full color as well. So.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, that's actually great. That's something very unique. Yeah, okay. Alright, so we're not only drawing cat lovers, we're also drawing game lovers into Manga Planet.
Yes.
Okay, alright, let's keep going.
Speaking of game, we have Zen, which is the original art is by Yoshitaka Amano-sensei, which game lovers should know is behind, is famous for Final Fantasy.
Yes.
So this one is also like fantasy, sort of like, or a historical story. It's very interesting.
Yeah, well, you can definitely see his style of artwork in this particular poster, can't you? Yeah, that's good. All right.
And speaking of history, we also have another historical title, Prince of Lan Ling, which is about Prince of Lan Ling. like battles and the ancient China fight for the throne and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that kind of story, this is also in full color. This is very
it's very detailed.
very, very detailed.
Yes, I'm just going to cut you off just briefly there to add in another thing. Guys, if you are interested, again, I'll just give you a reminder. They are on read.mangaplanet.com. Please sign in. As Emma explained before, it's not a large fee. It is a small monthly fee. It is USD though, to sign up and read it. And you get access to all of this manga for a small fee. It's kind of worth it if you really like your manga and like to try lots of different kinds of manga. What you'll notice with Manga Planet is they have a variety of genres and a variety of styles that they have on there. It's not just all shonen or just all shoujo or only niche. It's a bit of everything. So please get up there, read it. It's legal access, therefore it means your contribution links directly to supporting our creators. So please go ahead and do so. Okay, so I'm going to bring us back to Prince of Lan Ling because we know our special guest today is heavily involved with this one here. For those of you who don't know, our special guest today is the original story writer of Prince of Lan Ling. His name is Yoshiki Tanaka. So Tanaka-sensei is also known very well for A Legend of Galactic Heroes. Sorry, I'm only familiar with the Japanese title, so you're going to have to bear with me. It's Ginga, Eiyuu, Densetsu, to show off. He's also known, as of late, we've had an anime, Arslan Senki, also the heroic legend of Arslan, and he, as you may have realized, the trend here is very famous about making a huge world and making a story happen in this huge, detailed world that he's composed and creating a large story with main characters moving kingdoms and galaxies and things like that. It's a huge universe. I'm really impressed with his style of writing, And Prince of Lan Ling is the one that we have on Manga Planet at the moment, I believe, about a particular prince, if you know, from the Qi dynasty. So if you're into your Chinese legends and things, please have a look at it. It's actually very rare to find anything of this particular character in Japanese manga form, just because there's not a lot of history about him, I think, left behind, which is interesting. And I don't know how he does it, but Tanaka-sensei has managed to dig that out, you know? Which is why we're interviewing him today in particular, because I think we want to know more about what went on in his head when he was writing it, So, you know, what are you guys expecting to hear when you talk to him? What would you like to hear?
Oh man, I mean, just being in his presence is enough.
Getting the okay to interview him was actually very startling.
Bit of background news, guys. When I walked in here, Emma and Gladys was the most stiff people sitting on this sofa. They were like this, ready to just have someone just starstruck them, which they're already starstruck from the thought of him in here, and I think they're a little bit more relaxed now, which is good, but watch when we switch to the interview and we bring Tanaka-sensei on screen, you might see a change in their body language. I think they're ready to be starstruck, are we?
Yep.
Okay, alright.
See the before and the after.
That would be interesting. Okay, so thank you guys for listening to all the details, because I know most of you are here to see Tanaka-sensei himself. So without much further ado, let's please introduce our special guest, Yoshiki Tanaka, to screen. So, yay! Thank you, Sensei, for making your time to join us today on our panel. So, for those of you watching who don't know, he's currently in his own office in Tokyo as we speak. So, thank you very much for coming today. 今日は来ていただいて本当にありがとうございます。お話しさせていただくのを楽しみにしておりました。はい。Okay, so let's start talking about Prince of Lan Ling, which is of course on Manga Planet. So the first question, we'll keep it nice and simple. What made you decide to write Prince of Lan Ling?
もう40年以上前になりますけども、大学図書館でちょっと歴史辞典を読んでましたら、もしひょいと目に飛び込んできたんです。知らなかったので、どういう人なんだろうと思って読んでみたら、なんかもう戦いの時に仮面をつけて非常に勇敢な人だったけども悲劇的な最後を遂げたというようなことが書いてありまして、これはもうこの人についてなんか書かれた 小説なんかがないものかと思って探したのですけども、40年探してなかったので、しょうがないから自分で書こうと、そう思ったわけです。
なるほど。So, Sensei knew about Lan Ling because he actually found it in an encyclopedia or a dictionary of sorts, I suppose, in his university library over 40 years ago. And he didn't know about him very well, but he read about it and found out that he wore a mask and he was very brave and had a very, very dramatic end at the end of his life. So he decided that he needed to find a lot of novels, any novels at all about him. Couldn't find any, so he decided he needed to write one of his own. Okay, very interesting, very, very good way to start a novel. Good. とても面白いですね。執筆の過程についてなんですけれども、書いていた時に特に意識していたこととか注意して書かれたところとかありますか？
乱量一人については、資料はもうできるだけ集めましたが、少なかったので、もうちょうどその時代に活躍した人々の話も入れて、もうなるべく蘭陵王というキャラクターを通じてその時代のことがいろいろ面白く分かりやすいように書けたらなと思いました。はい。
So we were asking about things that he was particularly consciously thinking about when he wrote The Prince of Lan Ling, and he mentioned that he tried really, really hard in regards to Lan Ling himself to find as much information as possible. However, as you may already know, there's not a lot of information out there about him. So instead, he looked at a few other people in the same era that probably were involved in his life and tried to recreate a vision of that era and that world through Lan Ling himself. So I think he did a pretty good job, don't you think? とてもうまくできていたかとも私たちも感じていますね。とても面白かったです。はい。Okay. So let's ask him about, because we are on the Manga Planet panel, of course, let's talk about digital releases of novels and manga in our current times, modern times.
僕自身はあんまりデジタルは使わないんですけども、そのデジタルを通じてもういろんな作品に接するということは非常にいいことだと思います。もうできればデジタルで経験した後、紙の本に移っていただけると大変ありがたいなと思っております。
So Sensei doesn't use a lot of digital releases himself, unfortunately, but he thinks it's a great idea as an introduction to get to know a lot of series and know a lot of worlds. So that would be great, and you can experience different novels and series through a digital platform. And it would be nice if you decided that was interesting and you decided to pick up a paper book or print book yourself of the actual series. So that's an interesting way to look at things. That's definitely how a lot of people these days, I believe, is using the digital platform. Yes. Okay, thank you, Sensei. So that's, we're going to head straight off to a few other questions outside of Prince of Lan Ling. So if you are interested in the series, it is available on Manga Planet, as we have mentioned before. You can read the first chapter for free, so you should probably jump onto read.mangaplanet.com so you can have a look at the series yourself. That would be absolutely fantastic. Okay, so let's move on to the special segment of our panel. Thank you for everybody to be being patient until this time. It is finally the Q&A section. So the Manga Planet team, I believe, collected a number of questions from all of you, and in regards to Tanaka-sensei's works and the way he works with his series. And we received a lot of questions. So thank you to all of you guys from the US, Canada, UK, Germany, France, and Australia. I'm sorry, that's a lot of countries. So thank you very much. Well done, guys, for getting all these. Okay, good questions. All right. Just letting you know, due to time constraints, there is a possibility we won't be able to answer all of them. So we do apologize in advance if that does come to its time. So sorry about that. We'll do our best, and let's go straight into the questions. All right. はい、それでは質問にすぐ入りたいかと思います。はい、so let's look at a particular question we received about Arslan Senki. First of all. So Arslan Senki features so many mythical and real-life Persian influences, and it's an incredible blend blend of so many little elements from it. Was there anything in particular that inspired the Arslan Senki story, or that you drew from the most inspiration for world building from? This is from Mel from the USA.
影響された作品というものはありません。実はこういう異世界を舞台にした物語というのは突然編集者との話し合いの中で降ってきたので、それまで実はペルシャのことをどれだけ知ってるかというと、もうろくに知らなかったのですね。もう書くことが決まってからもう大慌てでもう資料を探しまくって、で一方お話の方は別に出来上がっていましたので、もうその物語の状況をペルシャの歴史や伝説に絡めて、なるべくたくさんの人を出してペルシャ的な雰囲気が出てきたらなと思っておりました。ですから食事とか宴会とか、あるいはペルシャの街中のお風呂屋さんとか、そういうようなものを戦いの描写の合間に入れて、読者がそれについて、ペルシャっていうのは面白い国だったんだなと思っていただければありがたいなと思いながら書きました。
I think we just found out that Sensei actually didn't know anything about Persia before he started Arslan Senki, which is absolutely amazing because it's of all the details that's actually in the series. So there was no influence. When you're actually creating something about like a fantasy world, apparently it was something that just came to him one day when he was discussing with his with the production team in his in the publishers. So that's really interesting. So when they decided they were suddenly going to do this, they decided that they needed to find a lot of information, and they rushed to grab as much information as they could about Persia and its history because they knew absolutely nothing about it. So, however, the story itself was already in his head. It had already been made. So he decided that he needed to intertwine the culture and its people and its history into the story they had already created, and thought that it would be great that if the readers got to know Persia and think that, wow, Persia is actually a great country, I want to know more about it. And so what he did was between each of the different battles that they had, he intertwined the foods or the parties that they were having or the bathhouses they were all visiting to be a lot like the scenery of Persia itself. And he'd really hoped that you'd all take a lot of interest in Persia through reading and watching Arslan Senki. Okay, that is a very interesting start. なるほど、とても面白いですね。はい。それにちょっとちなんでの質問なんですけど、こちら、フランスのチャーリーさんからの質問なんですが、we're gonna go straight to a question from Charlie from France in regards, a little bit in regards to the same sort of topic. So the question is, you're very interested in history and the culture of foreign countries, most notoriously China and ancient Persia, and probably other countries as well. Do you discover these cultures only by reading books, or do you like to visit these countries like Europe as well, maybe?
それは作品によってケースバイケースなんですけども、中国やイギリス、ドイツには実際に行きました。行ってみないとわからないことがあるんですね。ドイツのハンザ同盟というのを舞台にして作品を書いた時には、その町で作られている特別なレンガというのが出てきますが、それがどういう色をしているかは書いてあるんですけども、どういう手触りかは書いてない。それでも手触りを確かめるためだけにもうドイツに行ったということがあります。残念ながらフランスにはまだ伺ったことがありません。いつかは行ってみたいものだと思っておりますが、コロナが終わってからのことになると思います。
Okay, that's very interesting. I'm glad you asked this question, Charlie, because I think we just got a very good answer from Sensei. So it is case by case. It depends on the country. He's so far gone to China, England, or the UK, and Germany because there are some things that you just can't tell from just reading books. Like a really good example is there's a particular brick that was made at a particular time frame in Germany, which he really needed to go and have a look at, because you know what it looks like, you know what you might feel like, but you won't know exactly what it feels like until you go and actually touch it. So he went to Germany specifically for this, which is very interesting. Unfortunately, Charlie, he has not gone to France yet, so maybe he'll get a chance after the corona. Okay? Okay, great. Alright, そうですね。じゃあちょっと外れて、ストーリーの方ではなく、世界観のことなく、キャラクターについてなんですけれども、キャラクター作りにどのようなアプローチをされていますか？
そんなに自分では苦労しているとは思わないのですけども、まあ最初にその作品世界全体を作ります。その中において、どういう役割を果たすか、これはもうこういう役割を果たす人が必要だな、こういう役割を果たす人が必要だなというような感じで、一応キャラクターを作っておいて、その後の物語の進行に応じていろいろと肉付けをしていきます。野球に例えて言いますと、1チームに9人のメンバーがいますけども、例えば足が速くて身軽なものはショートにしようとか、体がでっかくて肩が強いものはキャッチャーだとか、そういう一応のイメージがありますよね。で、そこのところでちょいと外してみるんです。なんか太って身動きが重そうな人間をあえてショートにしてみるとか、そういうところで個性が浮き上がってくればなと思うわけです。
なるほど。Okay. Again, excellent question. Thank you for asking this. I believe this is a question from Leaf from USA. So the question was, how do you approach character creation? So Sensei himself doesn't find himself in a lot of trouble when he's finding characters, but he has a number of steps that he takes, which is rather thorough, in order to create the character. So he creates the world, first of all, and makes it concrete. Then he thinks about what kind of roles, what types of roles does he need in order to make the story happen. Then the next step is he then imagines, okay, I need a character like this, or a character that will do this, or that character that will take this role. And then make a sort of like a rough framework, outline of what that character would be like, and then slowly put an actual personality and make them into flesh. So a good example that the analogy would be, for example, you might have baseball. If you know baseball well, you've got 9 players on the field, and for example, if you need a shortstop, you might pick someone who's fast and probably quite rather petite, or of less structure, in order to run fast. And then you might have someone who plays catcher who's nice and big and strong. But then Tanaka-sensei will put those aside for a second and think, what else can I do to make it interesting or different, and put an originality to their personality? So he might think, what happens if I put someone who's a little bit on the larger side as shortstop, someone who you wouldn't traditionally put in a shortstop? And then he slowly starts making his characters from there. So very, very interesting. Like, all these questions are interesting. I think we've got a nice set of questions here. I think definitely a well done job. Okay, so I've kept these questions until the end because there's so many of them, but so many of you have sent questions about the Legend of the Galactic Heroes. So I'm going to try and get through as many of these as possible. Again, bear with me if I don't, but let's ask these questions. So, okay. じゃあ、次は、世界中から銀河英雄伝説についていろんな質問をいただいているので、これを少しずつ、なるべく時間の許す限りやっていきたいと思うんですが、ちょっとやってみましょう。順にいきますね。はい、so we've got a question from Danny from Oregon, USA. In the Legend of Galactic Heroes, several hero characters are adopted or fatherless, and still grows up to be great leaders, like Yang adopting Julian or Mittermeier adopting Felix. Was this an intentional focus of yours? I've always found it very inspiring to see. Do you have any thoughts on those themes in Galactic Heroes?
はい。銀河英雄伝説に、ユリアンやフェリックスのような戦争孤児が出てくるのは、戦争の時代だから当然だと思うのです。そして、実際の親子ではないというところなんですけども、血縁関係とは違った人間関係ですね。堅苦しく言えば先生と生徒ですけども、それを子どもたちの方が自覚的に見習いながら自分の人生を作り上げていくという過程にはとても興味がありました。なぜあったかと言われると困るんですけども、何しろ僕が反抗期の時に親ってうるせえなと思ったことがあるからじゃないかと思います。
I think Sensei's conclusion was that because it is war times in the actual series, it was natural for some of the characters to pretty much be not have their own blood related parents around, to be orphans pretty much. However, I think Sensei's was very interested personally in the way people could still be parent and child regardless of an actual blood relationship. It's kind of almost like a teacher and a student in a way if you want to make it into real formal terms, but they can also be like family themselves is he was very interested in the way that children could learn from their peers and their surroundings despite the times and be able to recreate their own future or their world, which is very interesting. And he definitely said that it's probably not intentional, but maybe it came to him because he was a bit of a rebellious person himself in his teenager days, who may or may not have thought that his parents might have been a bit annoying here and there. So yes, that's definitely something that came up. So great, okay, all right, ありがとうございます. So let's go to the next question. That's another one with a question. Okay, so this is another question slightly in regards to human relationships. Okay, it's a bit heavy. So we've got a question from Carl from New York. So it's said that human beings have a difficult time comprehending death when it happens in extremely large numbers. Is this something you took into account when writing the massive space battles in Legend of the Galactic Heroes?
最近の戦争でもそうですが、無人兵器などが出てきて、人々の死が数字として捉えられているような、傾向がありますね。未来の宇宙戦争では、特にそれが顕著になって、船が何隻壊れた、戦死者が何人出たというようなことはもう統計の数字としてしか、把握されない。でもそうじゃなくて、実際にはもう血を流して苦しみながら死んでいく人たちがいるし、またそういった人たちの家族とか友人とかもいるわけで、その大きな流れの中で、翻弄されながらも一生懸命生き抜いていくという人たちを描きたかったんだろうなと自分では思っております。
Hi. Okay, so again, it was a bit heavy, but we'll try and make it as interesting as possible. So, if you've ever seen any images of war, you'll obviously know that as of recent years, wars, not really recent years, I should say the past century, most likely. Modern war times, we do use a lot of machinery and equipment, and what you do see on TV or on the newspapers is only the numbers. So it's almost like people have come down to just mere numbers when it comes to war times. How many ships we've lost, how many people we've lost, but really, in real fact, it's not just numbers we're talking about. There are people, they are real beings, they have families, they have friends as well, and Sensei, I believe, wanted to show his readers that these are real suffering people who actually experience these, and they actually have families and friends who also suffer from these experiences as well. So I believe he was very interested in being able to find how people lived through these negative emotions despite being completely enraveled and entangled in all of the deaths and the numbers that's going on around them. So that's a very good point to think about when he's trying to make, I suppose, the numbers real. He's trying to make war an actual real thing, not just it happened. So that's a very important thing to know. So thank you for that question, Carl. Okay, so again, we did have a bit of a heavy question, so thank you very much, Sensei, for answering a very serious question. However, it was very interesting, and I'm sure all of you would love to know these kind of things as well because of the time and era that we do live in ourselves. So let's look at this next question. Hopefully it's a little bit lighter. So we've got a question here from, I apologize in advance, I can't speak French. Jean-Philippe from Method Montreal. The question is, when you look at Legend of the Galactic Heroes, you've got Yan Wenli and also in Titania, Fan Hulick. It's hard to see these characters. Well, it's hard to not see these characters as similar characters. And why is that? Is it because of remorse at Yan Wenli's fate? Or is it that you like these type of characters?
特に計画的に作ったわけではないんですけども、強大な権力に対して、立ち向かっていくというキャラクターが真面目一方のキャラクターですと書いてて辛いんですね。でその巨大な権力もですけども、それに立ち向かっている自分自身をもちょっと距離を置いて客観的に眺められるようなキャラクターに、した方が、書きやすかったということもあります。それと、キャラクターを作る際には、もう欠点から作っていくというのが私のやり方ですけども、なぜかというと長所から作っていきますと、優しいとか賢いとか親切だとか道徳の教科書になっちゃいますね。ですからもう欠点の方がむしろ人間の個性を強調できるのではないかと思ったわけです。そうすると、僕として親和感があるのはもう怠け者でこんなことやりたくねえなと考えているようなキャラなんで、なんかどうしてもそうなると思います。あと、キャラクターっていうのが何かにこだわっていると、非常に、個性的だと思われる。ヤンの場合は紅茶で、ヒューリックの場合はオムレツですけども、もう私、銀河英雄伝説を書いた直後ぐらいは、喫茶店でコーヒーを頼むと、なんで紅茶じゃないんだとか言って責められたりしましたが、あくまでも、紅茶が好きで、コーヒーは泥水だと言ってるのがヤンでして、私自身はコーヒーも好きでした。
私たちも好きです。
確かにコーヒーは命ですね。Okay, so to answer your question, Jean-Philippe, so again, like we discussed with the way Sensei plans his characters, these characters of course were not planned. They were planned in a similar structure to the flow that we had before. So what he did think of is about if we had these giant powers, these kingdoms, these worlds, how would we actually have a character that would be fighting against that power? And I believe Sensei thought it was really difficult to keep writing if it was just a really serious character that was very only thinking about doing things the right way. So he decided to create a character that's a little bit different, something that he could step back from and look from a distance and look in a like from a window almost, in a different view, so that it's easier to write about that story. And also, when he likes to create characters, he likes to think about their weaknesses first. Reason being, if you start from the strengths, you'll start thinking about how kind they are, how great they are, how loyal they are, how right they are, and it becomes pretty much like a textbook on how to be the right kind of human being. So instead of doing that, he decided to make start with the weaknesses, because he believes that that's what makes the characters unique, as someone more human. And he found it easy, I suppose, to write similar kind of characters when he thinks about characters that is a bit different. They're either a bit lazy, thinking about, oh, why do I have to do this kind of thing? That was the sort of a mindset that he's got. So they kind of end up being similar characters in that, right? Because it's easier to write. And also, he likes to also put something unique in that character, something extra in them, by giving them something that they're very caught up on, something that they are obsessed about. So for example, you've got Yan Wenli, who's into his tea, and of course Fan Hulik, who's into the omelets. And these came to be because Sensei was at a cafe ordering some food and drinks, and he was thinking about, why is there no tea here? Why does this belong here? And well, this tastes delicious. And then you've got one thing that Sensei has to mention, that is that we do have Yan Wenli, who thinks that coffee is like dirty water. It tastes like that, but it's okay for all of you coffee lovers. Sensei loves coffee too, and we do too. So we're coffee lovers too. So nothing personal. Okay, all right. Okay, let's go to the next question. Which one would be easier? Not really easier. Okay. So there's no name here, but we've got a Legend of the Galactic Heroes fan in California who's asking a question. So, Legend of the Galactic Heroes has been adapted many times. Which eras and events in world history influence your works the most? Which do you consider to be the most fascinating or possibly even horrifying?
興味を持っているのはもうそれこそ山ほどありまして、どれが一番というようなことはもうちょっと考えてみたけどお答えできないですね。あれも中国の歴史も面白いし、ローマ帝国の歴史も面白いし、古代エジプトの歴史も面白いです。もう興味の範囲はもう非常にもう広がっていますので、もうその中からもう本当に海岸の砂浜の中から一粒の砂をつまみ上げるようにもう素材を見つけていっております。
はい。So we had a bit of a laugh. Sensei has absolutely too many that he's interested in. He can't actually pick one. He tried picking for us, for your sake there, but he couldn't pick the exact one. But he's definitely into, your ancient China, your ancient Rome, ancient Egypt, like all of these are part of his main interest. However, like pretty much, it's pretty much like looking at a huge beach with all this different sand and trying to pick the one grain of sand to write about. He carefully picks them in order to write his series. So that's a very artistic way, a very clever way of describing what it's like to pick a favorite, isn't it? Yes. Yes, that's a very good analogy, I think. Yes. はい、ありがとうございます。そうですね。いろんな歴史があるので難しいですよね。There's a lot of histories out there to pick from. Okay. はい。じゃあ次は the next question, I think we'll go to Diana from Seattle, Washington, USA. The question is, what do you think it was specifically that gave Legend of the Galactic Heroes such phenomenal staying power as a story with a dedicated fandom that continues to grow decades later?
それがきちんと理論的に説明できれば、僕は何千万部という本が売れたと思います。そうはありませんでしたね。自分でも読み返してみて、よくこんなこと書いてるなと、もう感心したり、なんか偉そうなこと言ってるよ、この頃は若かったからななんて思ったりしております。なんか作家というのは他の方もそうですけども、なんか自分一人で書いてる と言い切る人はあまりいませんね。なんか何かに書かされているというような、そういう感覚を持った人が多いように思います。もう私も書いた後で、こんなことを考えてたのかなと不思議に思ったりすることがありますし、もう、あるいは、そのなんか誰かが後ろについてて、ボソボソと耳にささやいてくれて、振り向いたら誰もいないというような、そういう、感覚を味わったことがあります。
不思議な感覚ですね. Okay. I hope I can describe this to you properly in English, guys. It's a little bit of a strange phenomenon we've got here. So, Sensei claims that if he actually knew the reason why his series was so popular and was selling millions, he'd probably be a billionaire by now and would continue selling, and it'll be a proper... if he could make a theory out of it, he would have no trouble at all. So, okay, yeah, that's definitely true. But he does read back his own stories every now and then himself and think, wow, I'm surprised I wrote something like this. Wow, I must have been thinking about this back then when I don't do that now. So, or he might look at it and go, wow, this person here writing this book that I wrote is bloating a little bit. They seem to be a bit of a fool of themselves. So he does go back and think about what he does write about, but he doesn't really have quite an answer for you there, unfortunately, Diana. So he does state, however, that authors in a particular sense, writers to a particular degree, no one would ever say that they're writing the story alone. There's always going to be someone helping them. And to a certain degree, this is where it gets a little bit strange to describe. He feels like he's been made to write something or being led to write things, where he's had strange moments where he feels like someone's sort of, whispering in his ears and sort of telling him what he needs to be writing, and he'll look back and there's no one there, but he's managed to write it through. So definitely something that only the pros understand, I think, yes. なるほど、ありがとうございます. Okay, so we've just got time just for a couple more questions. We're kind of pushing Sensei's time here a little bit. Thank you so much. Okay, so we've got a question from Lau Griffin from Australia. So Tanaka-sensei, one of the impressive things about Legend of Galactic Heroes is how the political commentary still feels relevant after 30 years. But 30 years is a long time. Do you ever feel like there are times that you don't agree with yourself, younger self? I suppose, yeah, okay.
それが読んでみますと、こいつの言ってることはもっともだなと思うようなことがありまして、それを自分が書いたとはあんまり思わないですね。
なるほど。
ですから、さっきも申し上げましたように、この頃は若かったから今よりすれてなかったなとか、そういうしみじみとした思いを抱くことはあります。意義という点に関して言いますと、今だったらもうちょっと寛容になってるかなとか、そう思うことはありますね。例えば銀河帝国の旧貴族たちに対しても、すっかり敵役になってますけども、彼らには彼らの言い分があったんだろうなというようなことを感じることはあります。
Hi, なるほど. Well, just so that you know, Lau, yes, there are times that he disagrees, but there are also moments that he does agree. Tanaka-sensei has mentioned that he doesn't actually feel like he's the one who wrote it when he's rereading his own stories, so it feels like someone else's work when he's reading them. And he does read them, and when he does come to realization that it's his younger self, he does think, wow, I must have been a lot younger back then to think like this, or wow, this a little bit indirect in the way they write, or a little bit of a twist in the way they write their words, and it makes me feel, it makes Sensei feel like he's missing his younger self a little bit, I believe, a little bit of a nostalgia that he's feeling. However, he does also think that sometimes that if he was rewriting the same story now, it'll probably be a lot more passive or different in the way he expresses it, a little gentler in the way that he expresses his works. So, you know, even with, but as your question goes, there are moments that he'll read the story and he'll read some of the characters' backgrounds, and every character has their own reasons for the way they act or the way they think. So that is something that he could always agree with. So yes, that's a very good answer yet again from Sensei. Yes. Hi. Okay, so we'll do one last question. We've only got one question for time, unfortunately, that we've got left. So we've got a question here from Sierra from Phoenix, I believe, USA. This is not really about a particular series, but a series in all of Tanaka-sensei's works. So the question is, which characters of yours do you think you would get along with well?
自分で作ったキャラクターですけども、まあ、旗で見ていて、面白いやつだなと思うことはあっても、こいつとぜひ友達になりたいと思うキャラクターはおりませんね。ギーブとかポプランなんてのはもうあっちへ行ったなさいという感じですね。
なるほどね。はい、わかりました。逆になんかどうして友達になりたくないとかありますか？
いや、どうしてってことはないです。なんとなく自分の作ったキャラだもんですから、もうなんか見透かされてるような気がしちゃって。
なるほどね。確かに知られてるかも。Okay, that's pretty interesting. So, Sierra, the question is, there's a lot of characters that he made, and there's a lot of characters that he believes are interesting, but no, there's not a single person he wants to be friends with. Okay, but we asked him why. And the reason is because he has a feeling that because they're the characters that he wrote, they kind of know each other really well, and they understand him a bit too well for comfort, I think is the expression, yeah. So, unfortunately, no, there's no one in particular that he would be friends with. なるほど、面白いですね。逆にそれ、先ほど言ったこの人面白いなって言ったのはどんな人ですか？
いや、悪党は悪党なりに、なんかなりきって書こうと思ってるから、もう、例えばアルスラン戦記で言うと、ギスカールなんかを書いてるときは、本気でもうアルスランを困らせるにはどうしたらいいかというようなことに、もう知恵を絞ります。
なるほど。はい。
どっちかというと悪党を書いてる時の方が楽しいですね。
なるほど。そうかもしれない。ちょっと違いますよね、普通の人とは。はい。なるほど。Okay, so we had a bit of an interesting comment there that he finds it fun to write the villains more because they're, I suppose, they're not your ordinary character. But I asked him. He mentioned earlier that there were characters that he found interesting, but not necessarily to be friends with. So I asked him who it might be, but he had thought about it and was like, he does tend to be drawn to the bad guys of the stories, and because when he writes them, he tries to be that particular character and be in their thought as he's writing about them. So a good example was Giskal from Arslan Senki, because as he's writing it, he's thinking, okay, if I was really Giskal, how would I actually think about be this person and actually make trouble for Arslan? How would Arslan not want me to act? So that's probably why he finds it fun. He thinks about the things that he could actually do as a bad guy when he's writing. I suppose everybody to a particular degree has always imagined a second self of themselves, haven't they, I think? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, guys, I believe that is all the time we've got for the Q&A, unfortunately. So, thank you very much to all of you again for sending through the questions. Thank you to you guys for bringing the questions together. They were absolutely fun. And thank you to Tanaka-sensei for responding to our questions. All right. Okay. So, I think before we say goodbye, we would like to have one last message from him. I'm sure you'd all like to hear one last message from him. So, let's ask. So,
実は私、今年の7月に サンディエゴに行く予定でした。それもコロナのおかげでダメになってしまって、もうこうして直接お会いすることができないのがとても残念です。でもメッセージなんていうほどのものでもないですけども、もう皆さんにお願いしたいのは、僕のに限らず、もう面白い本をどんどん読んでください。そして何といっても目の前のことですけども、もうコロナのおかげでもう随分と不自由な思いをして思いますけども、もうこれをなんとかみんなで乗り切って、また来年にでも直接皆さんとお会いできるような機会があれば嬉しいなと思っております。それと本当にこれは心から申し上げますけども、もう私などが書いた作品を世界の人たちが読んでくださっているということについて、もう本当にもう心から感謝しております。ありがとうございます。作家になってよかったことは、こうやって間接的にでもファンの方たちと触れ合うということができたということと、あともう一つは上役がいないということですね。
なるほど。Okay, so Tanaka-sensei's message is, if you didn't already know, he was actually due to go to San Diego July this year, which I believe was, we're in August now, right? So last month. But unfortunately, due to the coronavirus, he wasn't able to go. And he feels a little bit sad that he can't meet any of you direct, but it's not much of a message, but he'd like to pass through that regardless of the situation, please read a lot of things. So it doesn't matter what author, what series, just read lots of things, because that's what brings all of you together to our writers. We are in hard times here. You are restricted. It is limited movement around the world due to the corona, but however, let's please work together and fight with the corona together as a group. And even next year, let's meet, I think, is the idea. And from the bottom of his heart, he really thanks to all of you from all over the world for having read all his series, gotten to know his series, because that's, you know, as a writer, that's one of the best things that they can do, that to meet you fans direct. And also he doesn't have a boss up there as well, I believe. And he would really like to thank you, a big thanks to all of you for reading his works. So thank you very much. I believe, wow, okay, we've gone a bit too far, I think. We were too engrossed with the conversation, but thank you very much, Sensei. 本当に今日はありがとうございました。 Thank you very much for coming with us today. 本当にありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
Hi, okay, so, wow, have you seen the time, guys? I think we had a bit too much fun talking to Tanaka-sensei. Like, that was incredible. Alright, so we are almost at the end of the panel. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for all of us. I think we actually wanted to spend more time, if we could, talking to Tanaka-sensei, which is a bit sad, but it is a panel. This is a convention. We do have time to wrap up, unfortunately. So
Check out, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram and Facebook, or all our DMs are open, aside from the contact page, of course. So
little curiosity, you write the blog, so who does the social media?
I do too.
Gladys is very busy.
In the middle of all the daily updating of the chapters. Wow, we've got some hard workers here, guys. Please support them too, not just our creators. They're part of the whole team as well. Excellent, okay. Well, I can't wait for those new features. They sound fantastic. It's going to make, I think, the experience more fun for everybody too. So thank you very much for that. And you guys keep your eyes peeled for the updates coming up as well. And yeah, make sure you look at the social media. They do actually tell you what chapters have been uploaded or what blogs have been uploaded, so you know exactly what updates you're reading, which is great. Okay, so again, it is time to leave, guys. Unfortunately, it was a fun time, but we do have to go. So any final messages, Emma and Gladys?
You go first. I just want to thank everyone for tuning in and also supporting Manga Planet up until now. We hope to keep on growing and bringing you more manga.
Yeah, thank you for watching, and thank you for sending all those messages and questions for Tanaka-sensei, and thank you for supporting Manga Planet, and we hope to grow more. Yeah, and I hope you continue supporting us, so thank you very much. Thank you, Otakuthon at home, for having us today.
Okay, so thank you to both of you as well, because again, giving us access as manga fans to legal manga from Japan and, of course, your partner over in Sozo as well is very rare for us, and it's great to know that we can actually have a place that we can go and access all these. So thank you very much for all your hard work, and please keep going at it, guys. Please support them. This is how we get more content. This is how we get proper content globally, okay? And thank you also to you guys for viewing from home. I know it's difficult times at the moment. We all miss going to cons as well. We're con people as well, guys. So we can't wait to hopefully see you in person next time. Stay safe though, and please enjoy the rest of the event. There's more going on. I know that you guys have another panel maybe before or after this. Yeah. And please stay healthy as well, and tune into Manga Planets for more updates, and we'll be checking it out, I think. I know you've got plenty more coming in. Don't work too hard. We still need your new content coming in as well.
We'll try our best.
Yeah. Okay, well, my name was Mai. Again, I was your MC and interpreter for the day, and we had our ladies, Emma and Gladys, and we will see you off today. All right? Enjoy the rest of the day, guys. Bye!
Bye.